Hey, everybody, morning. Well, anybody sufficiently freaked out yet? seems like market pulls back just a little bit, and everybody like, oh my gosh, start getting the messages early. Welcome everybody, Philip, Muku, Chris, Don, Larry, Velma. Don't recognize your name, but welcome. Arturo, Sergio, John, Donald, Michael, Mary, Logan, David, Craig, Alan, Nikki, JB, Laura, John, Major John. Good to see you. Rollin, Swinburne, Rex, Indy, my lovely wife Kimberly is here. Dave, Gary, on Anderson, USA, General Rush, good to see you, sir. And Dan, Eric, Rick, George. If you want to chat with me, like all the fine people saying, hey, how's it going? Arthur, hey, man. Kenneth, click the link over there on the bottom corner, the green subscribe button with my logo on it. A few seconds later, you can chat on the live stream and say, hey. And remember, if you're like sweating what's going on in the market right now, you got too much exposure. You got to close some stuff. You got to wind it back, pull it back. You should be okay with whatever is going on in the market. All right. There's take action levels, and then there's sweating it levels. If you're sweating it, you gotta rein in your risk. You got too much risk. All right. I've been warning for these pullbacks. This is probably a baby one. We might be setting up for a much larger one. All right, we're just down 40 points on ES. I mean, it's like 0.75 points. So be careful. All right, Google right here, potentially breaking out yesterday. Looks like we're gonna get a little bit of retrace. This is just popping back below the prior high. Still, odds are we're going to 160 up here. Now, before I get too far into all the charts and stuff, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling anything. Don't buy stocks, don't buy options, don't buy Forex, don't buy futures, don't buy cryptos, don't buy bonds, don't buy treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. All right? It all involves a substantial risk of loss. Unless you know what you're doing or you got some plan, I mean, be careful out there, all right? If you desire personal financial advice, make sure you hire and consult a financial advisor. It's not what I do. It's not my game. It's not my business. I'm just a dude sharing what I'm doing. I get it right more often than I get it wrong, it seems like, most of the time. I mean, I get lucky a lot. Simple as that. And that luck could run out. I mean, I may never get another one right again. That would suck, but that's the truth of it. All right. Calendar, fairly benign this week. And let's pop back over what everybody's focused on. Gold, look at this baby. Just keeps rocking. How far are we likely to go? Right up here, probably. That's the target land for the next move up, right around 2350. We may find a little resistance at 2300. Nice big round number in gold. But 2350, that's my target zone up there. Where above that? Well, things get spicy above that. We could see 2500, probably have some nice resistance there. Could see some resistance at 2400. And, you know, there's all sorts of levels. I mean, we could be looking at 3,000, possibly even 5,000, maybe this year, maybe next year on the upside. And if things get really spicy, I mean, we're talking caliente. Yeah, that's hot for those that don't speak Spanish. We're talking like we could go to 20,000. That would put gold more in line with the historical pricing of gold compared to all other assets. We'd have to bump up to like the $20,000 to $25,000 price range on gold. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. That's just all that is taking the long-term history of gold chart. We're way down here, and we're way down here instead of hanging out in the middle. The middle would put us at $25,000. Do we return to the mean? I don't know. That's it seems like wicked numbers when we think about it in gold in terms of today's numbers. But, you know, I mean, look at the value of the dollar. The value of the dollar is like, inflation-wise. Does it make sense that gold is dollar term-wise? Like if we price it in dollars? Anyway, near-term target right there. Anyway, any way you want it, just the way I need it. Check this out. So if you think this is like a giant down day, well, we're way the frick up here compared to where we were back in October, November. And we jump down. Look at the time frame. Oh, we didn't go even higher. Found resistance right at 618. Turn it down. Now, what do we got here? Got to clean this up is what we got here. Just remove drawings. This low, this high, right there. 52.44 and 52.21. These are the next support levels. A lot of these corrections we've seen bounce right at this 1272. You're thinking, oh my gosh, we're burning it down. We're only down 40 points. Come on. Only down 40 points in the pre-market. Deep breath. Calm yourself. This is a lower low than we made right back here on the 26th. It is. All right. If you're not familiar with what I'm looking at, this is ES1 exclamation point on TradingView. TradingView.com/ES on a lot of platforms. If you have futures enabled. If you don't have futures enabled, like you don't even know what the fudge that is, you're probably not going to find this ticker. All right. This is futures for the S&P 500. When this one up here, SPX, stops ticking, stops chooching at the market close every day, this one keeps going. This is where, like when the news, like mainstream media type people, CNBC, NBC, CBS, ABC, whatever, when they're on the morning, the pundits are like, oh, the market is down. Oh, we're going to open lower. They're talking about the futures, all right? That's where they're getting their numbers from. I watch the futures because it tells you some overnight information. Right now, pulling back. Getting close to the 1272. All right? All right. And NQ, very similar situation going here. I was cautious here because NQ wasn't able to break above that resistance. Once, twice, 3 times. Kept holding. I was very cautious that we were going to roll. And rolling is what we're doing. We're down below the 1272. 18.5 roughly. That zone. We start getting below that, we could accelerate something a little more vicious. All right, we're down below the trend. We're getting below that trend line. The secondary lows where we poked down below before. Right there, we're getting below that. Starting to tilt things a little bit more bearish. Little bit more bearish. Be careful out there, all right? We could be in for a bigger correction. This could lead to a bigger correction, but if we hold support and bounce, we can make a new high also, all right? Here's my support levels in the short term. These levels start breaking, we zoom out and start looking for bigger levels. If you want all the twists and turns, I'll be in Discord most of the day throwing stuff out as the twists and turns happen, all right? And link is in the description. You click the more button, you buy the market roadmap for $5. That allows you to get into Discord. All right. Now, everybody sufficiently okay? Like, we okay? Doing okay on these? Russell might be breaking down. This might be the indication that we're going on down. That next level of support down here at the bottom of the channel. Maybe like, what the heck channel are you even talking about, JT? Check it out. We've been in this channel all year so far. This is the Russell Futures, IWM, small caps. Russell 2000. We've been in this channel. We've been riding the top for most of the year so far. Now breaking down. Support down here at the bottom of the channel. Connect these 2-3 lows right there. That's our bottom of our channel. We get below that. Coming down to the roadmap line at the minimum. About 1960. Get below that. Probably going on an extension lower. And that extension lower could correct this whole big move up. And we could be talking like, way on down. Way on down, like 1,300. That'd be like 130 on IWM. That'd be a pretty swift, vicious correction. Oil breaking on higher. That $85 target. Oh, look at that, 85. Who said 85? Got lucky again. I tell you what. Haven't actually hit the alert yet. We could go a little higher. I'm going to turn this back off a log. Could go a little higher. 86, really, that number right up there, that resistance area where we get into this the zone of this fib. Remember, these lines are fuzzy zones. They're not tight. They're not just to the penny. They're not to the, the $0.01. They're not that tight, all right? These are zones. We came up just a little shy of it. We're still in that channel we've been riding in. I expect us to kind of pop on up, get actually a little closer, probably 86. Then we'll see what happens. If we push on through, we're probably going to go visit this $90 area right up here. And if we do, that's the first indication that oil is going to do something more bullish later on in the year. All right. It's our first indication right there. If we get to that level, we do some kind of consolidation, maybe come back to the roadmap line, then we could be talking much bigger up. 105, possibly going higher, like 113, 123. Maybe like, oh my gosh, man, JT, you're making me think about oil prices, gas prices, right? Yeah, we may see some higher gas prices moving forward. All right. Be careful out there. This thing's trying to break out. Right here, gasoline futures, RB1 exclamation point. Trying to break out. Probably going to go visit this 340 level. If we start getting above that, tilts the odds we're going to go up here to almost 5. So if we get above this, 70% odds, we're going to go on up to about $5 a gallon. And that's wholesale. These are wholesale prices, not pump prices. All right. There's taxes and local taxes and U.S. taxes and all sorts of taxes added on to the price of gasoline at the pump. Be careful out there. We could see this going higher, and it all is pieces of the puzzle that kind of combine together to create stagflation. All right. Stagnation in the economy as inflation hits. That's what I'm seeing lining up here. Alrighty. Got about 2 minutes till the market opens. Now, lots of people are in Bitcoin. I know. What's it doing? Pulling back is what it's doing. And I'm going to go to actually a different, cleaner chart really quickly. And we're going to go BTC, USD. Going to pop over here to the index. Going to jump down to the 30 minutes. All right. We have this pattern cooking right here. Highly likely we're going to go visit this area, but we're doing a retrace right now. That doesn't, these upper targets don't do us any good at the moment. All right. I know. It's pulling back. It looks ugly. Look right here. That high, that low, that high. 1, 2, click the 2-point tool. That low, that high. We are at the 618 level. This is normal. All right. A lot of times we'll see this bullish move up. We'll get this retrace, hold the 618 level. This is the zone we want it to hold right here. We start getting below this zone right down here. That's the big caution. All right. We start getting below this zone. Here's our last line of support here. We start getting below that and watch out below. It's the indication we're going on down here. Same pattern. Oh, look at that. Dun, 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 dun. My automated strategy saying that CCJ is a go. Broke above the 618, getting a little retrace. And IWM. Indication we're going on down to the roadmap line. Back to BTC USD on the index. So right here. Those are our zones. All right, we're right at it here. Right at it. Don't really want to see this pushed below here, but we can still be okay if it does. What I want to see is this hold support, and then we remove some lines, clean this back up. Then we run this high, this 0.1, whatever low this makes, going off the current low at this point. If we break back above this 69,000 area, That gives us 70% odds that we're hitting this. And this one back here did the 70% odds that we're hitting this. So it's a highly likely move. We start stacking probabilities that we're going to be pushing right up in here if we get above this zone right here. All right. So the way this all works, this is the high probability move. You can't get discouraged. Well, you can get discouraged, but if you get discouraged right now, this is the patience and discipline. All right. This is the patience to wait for the setup, the discipline to take action when it looks really bad. Now, buy now? No. Wait for it to turn. Wait for it to start being bullish. All right. This is the high probability entry up here, the conservative entry. This right here is the knife catch. It can keep on going down. All right. Ask Goose about this. I keep telling him these are knife catches, and he keeps being like, they're pushing right into that 618 level now. That's the alert. We've got this sitting here like this, pushed right into it. We get below this. Watch that. All right. 64.6 is what I got right there. Alrighty. There you go. Moving on. There are lots of decliners on the list today. Very few advancers. It's kind of the way this works. S&P open and lower. Support zone right down here. Simple as that. There you go. Could we bounce? Yeah, we could bounce. Make it a lower low than what we had right here. No big thing. All right. S5FI. Yesterday, reversing a little bit. This can be the first indication, lower high, that we may be on the way down. After we break out the top, usually we go visit the bottom. It happens over and over. And this is very similar to what we saw right back here in December of 22, where we broke down. We came back up right to the 80. We didn't actually poke out in that December 22. Then we went down to the bottom here in March of 23. We're running just a little bit behind here. Popped out, retraced, popped up. Here we are in April, and we may go down here for May, June. It might happen. Be careful. All right. All right. That's gold, oil, Bitcoin. Ethereum looks a little bit more bearish. I've been warning about this. We were holding that resistance. We may see a bigger push down. The zone right down in here around 2600. We've got that support right at that prior low from March 20th. If we start getting below that, watch out for that. If we start getting below this, we could go on something bigger and deeper. We'll talk about that later if it starts shaping up. Dollar. Now here's the mind bender, right? Everybody says dollar's up, market's down. Dollar's down, market's down. That's a mind bender, right? That's don't get stuck in these correlation causation things, all right? IWM keeps pushing lower. Don't get stuck in these. The dollar is down and the market's down. That's not the way it's supposed to work, according to mainstream media. I'm telling you all the time, these two are only correlated when they're correlated. They're not when they're not. And right now, we're 70% likely to go tag that 105.70, 105.50 area. And then watch out. We'll probably go continuation lower. This is very proportional correction. And it could take us on down here. 99. And possibly we could be going on a bigger trip on down to the mid 90s. Gold, natural gas, short. Anything that's leveraged, again, especially against a future, you should go look at the future, all right? Right there, we're just consolidating. We haven't done an extension. That extension probably took us down to this $1.30 area. And that looks very proportional right now. This looks, use the fib, first point, second point. We're holding the 618. Be very, very likely that we would see an extension lower if we hold this zone right here. If we can get above this, say $1.90 area, probably going up here to $2.12, $2.13. If we don't, probably pushing on down here to the lower fib at $1.30. Simple as that. All right. If we're gonna be bearish, then something like KOLD is probably gonna keep rallying. So we're seeing that up a little bit this morning, and there you go. I mean, that's how simple it can be. Dun dun dun. CHX Champion Corporation. Seeing that one climbing. Next target 42. VVPR. Viva Power popping, but oh my gosh, that's a nasty chart. Has a reverse split in there. This is basically all the makings of a dumpster fire. We've gone on little diversions higher and then more down. So be careful out there. That looks like we're probably going to make a lower low, and they may go out of business. You know, could they be fine? They could. Does it look good? Not for me. Not for me. Estee Lauder. We got a zoomer up where I can see what's going on. Still in the resistance. Still got a lower high. Popping. Making the poppers list this morning. Of course, it wasn't hard to do because there's only like 4, 5. And more downside may be in store for Estee Lauder. AINC came popping up to the resistance. Looks pretty much like a dumpster fire. Watch out below on that one. I wouldn't be chasing that for now. That's been acceleration lower. A little retrace. We could even see a retrace up into the $8, $9 area, but whew, that one looks pretty rough. MSTR pulling back with Bitcoin. Getting a little green candle going though. Gapping down, turning green. Watch for that. If Bitcoin turns green, this one's going to rip more than likely. Rip higher. We have these targets up here, but we have this support way the heck down here. Way the heck down here. We could see like 800 point downside. Could see like 1,000 point upside. That's pretty much a coin flip. Be careful. Humana. Oh, look at that. Extension lower. Man. That's rough. How far does she go? Yeah, I don't know. That's doing something bigger and deeper here. This could be a downtrend in Humana for a little while. Need to hold this zone right here. Same thing like on Bitcoin. Same, this big low, this big high, this retrace. Just on a daily chart, not the 30-minute chart. Need to hold this zone. If we start getting below this zone, probably going down. 161, 114. GE. Right back down to the roadmap line. Oh, look at that. We came up just shy of the target. And retrace. Man. Be careful out there. I want to see this hold. If it does, we turn back higher. This does leave a lot of resistance. A large gap down resistance, which is unpredictable on what happens. And I expect just a little bit lower, probably back down to this 132 area. We could tag that. We don't have to do that. We could just find a bottom here, but I'd like to see it move on down. Not really much to compare against on the way up. It just kind of went right on up there. Kept chugging. Dropped down. Love to see this hold support. Then we get it back above 160. Probably going to 195, possibly 216. But got a lot of work to do before then. So this correction not finished yet. This is a knife catch at this point. So yeah, I mean, I see the news. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Plan spinoff doesn't really matter. Chart's still the chart. PVH, and would I mess with it now? No. PVH, same situation. Roadmap bounce. If it can hold here. If it doesn't, we're going on deeper. How much deeper? Without zooming out yet. And that's a 3-wave up. And we could come right back down to this zone right here. If we don't hold that zone, we could be heading on down. ASML. Well, that thing's been straight the frick up. And a retrace back to the roadmap line would be expected back to 800 area. Right in there would be what I expect. UNH. Talk about a choppy chart. Whew. That thing is tilted the odds. It's probably going to make a lower low. Again. Could hold here. That's, man, that's just been chopped for. That thing started in January 22, just chopping this zone. We made the high, but then chopped back down, made the high, chopped back down, made the high, chopped back down. That's just sideways, choppy, unreliable, very hard to trade junk right there. If we can hold, if we don't make a lower low than we made right back here in May last year, like a year ago, if we don't make a lower low than that, this can be bullish. But right now, that's very choppy up, very choppy down, and unclear. SMCI, it's the way, I mean, that mucking a chart right up is what that did. Sometimes they do that. I would stay away. And SMCI seems to be filling out the head and shoulders pattern. If we finish this up, for dear gosh sakes, please be careful if you're along this. All right. I see it. Hopefully you see it now too. If we finish this up, watch out for a larger retrace. We could be talking 500. We could be talking something on down here like 300 where we consolidated just back in December. We were just here in December. Now we're up here at 1,000. And there's no, like, they didn't invent anything. They didn't come out with anything new. That's hype. What happens to hype? When the hype's done, we take it back. Take it all back. Be careful. AVGO. That one looks like it could be doing a head and shoulders also. Like shoulder, head, shoulder. Be careful. That one can retrace the roadmap also. NVIDIA. If that one breaks, we're pushing the 21-day or something like that. I saw a bunch of headlines that we're getting below support. If we start pushing below support, we can see a fast liquidation as people panic a little bit, especially people that are too big on NVIDIA. Or they're thinking, party's over for now, time to book profit. Be careful out there. Coin. Well, I've been wanting a price to retrace back down here for an entry. And maybe we do it. Maybe we just store up some energy and break higher. I don't know. I'm either looking for an entry up here or down here in between. Nothing high probability for me right now. Doesn't mean it won't set something up. I won't see something show up. But right now, I feel better if we were down here, holding support and turning higher, or pushing on up here, looking for the bigger breakout. ADSK, pushing below. Yeah, I don't want to see this one go back. Pushing below the consolidation zone a little bit. We did touch down in here just back in early March. If we push on down below that, probably hitting the roadmap line, or we could do something a little more bearish back into this consolidation down here. But that was like a watermelon seed squeeze situation. We popped out. Did we go the distance? Almost hit the target. So that's resistance right there. So, yeah, this cost tightening consolidation, watermelon seed squeeze. We usually pop out of it with about the size of what we did on coming into it, and we came up a little shy. That leaves room. We could consolidate here and pop that high. What happens after that? Unreliable. It's not a pattern I trade because it's unreliable. FNGU, probably going to come back to the roadmap line. This one does not have options, but it is leveraged. So be careful on leverage. PayX. Paychecks. Oh, look at that. Somebody said it was probably going to tag that 618. And very nice. Very nice. This is a potentially very bullish setup here. What I call a measured bounce. And I already had it drawn. Imagine that. Imagine that. I already had it drawn. So I want to see this hold here. Turn back higher. Break back above this stuff. We line this up. My phone is buzzing like crazy. Alerts going off like crazy, I'm sure. Break above this zone right up here at 125. We are 70% likely to hit 133. And maybe, I mean, I think we're 70% likely to do this based on the pattern, but I don't have actual statistics on it. This is the setup. If we get above here, likely to come up here. It's one of my power setups right there. That's what I call that. BitX probably going for, I mean, it could go for the roadmap line, could go higher. It's going to go with Bitcoin. That's a 2x leverage on Bitcoin. Whatever way Bitcoin goes, that's the way BitX is going. DHI, I mean, I kind of recommend, if you're a believer that we're going to see prices in the $100,000 to $300,000 on Bitcoin, it's an opportunity to buy. Opportunity to buy here, opportunity to buy down here. If we do that bigger retrace, hold this baby. It does have high fees, but we're only talking, let's be honest, we're talking 1.85% that you're going to pay. And we're only talking holding this for like a year-ish. So you pay 1.85%. You're not going to pay that little percentage if you go with options, all right? Or if you were trying to option Bitcoin at all, you're going to pay way higher percent than that on options. Theta. You hold this baby, and we could be seeing prices substantially higher. All right, this is a 2x, so whatever, this is percent-wise. So if we see Bitcoin up 100%, like 70 goes to 140, this will be up 200%. So this, 40, 50 is going to go to like 100. That's 100%. Go 150 would be 200%. All right, see how that works? So 2x leverage. So it's probably going to be going to 150. If Bitcoin goes to like 140 from 70, and we're slightly below 70 right now, but just rounding off for even easy numbers, all right? Now, and this is below 50 right now. Yesterday, when we were sitting at 70, it was at 50. All right? I'm not saying do this. I'm just saying if you wanted to have Bitcoin exposure, you didn't want to go to the crypto market and buy Bitcoin that's just one for one. You didn't want to play in options because that's a higher cost than something like this. You could hold this and it's going to outperform. Maybe like, why would you do this over like the spot ETFs? Well, the spot ETFs just get you one for one leverage. Why would you go pay the expense ratio on a spot ETF if you could pay the expense ratio here slightly higher and get 2 times the performance? What makes sense? Think about it. Where's the best bang for your buck? Now, playing options on this, that's playing with that's playing in the nitroglycerin factory while you're lighting firecrackers. Be careful on that. All right. While you're also soaked in gasoline and playing with matches. I mean, you're going to get burned more than likely playing options on something like this. You may get destroyed. That's the whole nitroglycerin part. DHI, pulling on back. I thought yesterday when I was talking about nail looked like it needed to pull back to the roadmap line. DHI needs to pull back to the roadmap line. It's kind of what we're seeing right there. Home builders. BitFX, that's Bitcoin futures, leveraged strategy. There's another leveraged Bitcoin thing right there by Valkyrie. So if you don't like BitX, that's volatility shares, you could potentially go with Valkyrie, I don't know what the leverage is. You'd have to go look it up. ADP. Now, I'm just saying, like, it's a way to leverage Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to do it, all right? I'm saying if you were so inclined to try to get Bitcoin exposure, that could get you better bang for your buck than going to buy Bitcoin. Could. It could also liquidate or all sorts of other things. You should go read the prospectus before you jump into that. MDB. It depends on your greed index. That's right. If you got FOMO on the Bitcoin move and you didn't buy your position back when I was talking about it being a good buy, back here, let's just rewind a second. If you didn't pick up your Bitcoin position back here, when I was telling everybody that we're breaking out of the consolidation, and now you're like, oh, I'm missing out. I got fear of missing out. You can still get some gains off of BitX. All right? You can still get some gains off of BitFX, BTFX. Now, do we retrace back down to 50? It's entirely possible. That's the roadmap line. All right? I'm not saying anybody should do anything. I'm saying if you've got fear of missing out on this baby, it's really ramping you up right now, maybe you consider buying a chunk of BitX or BTFX to take advantage of the potential. I don't recommend buying options on this at all. I don't recommend anything, but I don't recommend trading leverage. I mean, leverage cuts both ways. It's going to burn you, more than likely. It's going to test you. So, just throwing that out there. I'm not trying to recommend anybody do anything. I'm just saying, if you've got fear of missing out, that's a better way to play than jumping into the spot ETFs, where you got 1-to-1. I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to first make the decision if that's right for you and your account and your situation. ADP, I mean, maybe no crypto exposure is better for you. ADP bouncing off, potentially bouncing off the roadmap line. Remove all the drawings. If we hold here, get back above those highs right there. Setting this baby up. Potentially go to 261, 267. These guys are a paycheck processing place, basically. MDB. Looks like we're going to retrace it on down to the target. Could be talking 560 once we get above here, but right now, likely to go down to 320 area. Test that. If we get below that, could see a deeper retrace on MDB. CVS. Pushing on down back to the lows. Golly, man. I was very hopeful that was going to push on higher. But no, not at this point. Doing the secondary retrace, just like Bitcoin. We can hold this area right here, potentially going much higher. If we don't, could take us back to the bottom here where we found support. Back here in August and November. It's not being wrong that costs you the money. It's staying wrong. Don't stay wrong if we cross this and you're bullish and you're long on CVS. If we cross down here, close it. ANET, probably going to retrace. VERV, pushing on lower. Target down here at 5. ARCB, just retrace, just like that's just Bitcoin spot ETF. Lulu, potentially pushing lower. CRWD, targets down here. GBTC, that's a spot ETF. LEN, Lennar, another home builder. Looks like it's going to follow nail and DHI and do a retrace back down to the roadmap line. FBTC, another spot ETF for Bitcoin. EETH, Ethereum. This is a ProShares. This is just like BITO for Bitcoin. Futures. This is a futures strategy. EETH is the ProShares for Ethereum. And if Ethereum's going to do something more bearish, that roadmap line could be where we're heading. Now, there's not enough candles here in this chart to draw the roadmap line, but it's going to be down here roughly. ZS going on the bigger retrace, pushing deeper. That level of support 140 or 184 and possibly down to 170 here. Remember, today is Tuesday. I'm doing 30 minutes awesome. So if you're like, JT, I really want you to look at my chart tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going to do that for at least 30 minutes. Lately, it's been going like an hour and a half. I try to hit everybody's chart. So if you want to, make sure you put that like alert in your phone, set your calendar, set a reminder, 5 p.m. Come back. I'll be live today, 5 p.m. I'll take your request for at least 30 minutes. And like I said, last couple weeks, been an hour and a half. So I'm going to stick around, try to get everybody's chart. As long as I'm not too hungry or got to go to the bathroom or something like that, I'll stick around to do it. So it's just me, though. I'm one guy. So anyway, but I do need you to show up. Otherwise, the show's kind of boring. We just have a few people. So PANW, looks like we may be heading on down to this consolidation we did all last summer in the fall. BX, Blackstone, looks like we want to retrace to the roadmap line. Make sure you subscribe too. Hit the notification doodad, the bell with the little ears on it, all notifications. AMD, probably going on down. SOXX, probably coming down one day or another day. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month. AVTX is a biotech, pharma, and unpredictable, and pretty much a dumpster fire. Whew. One for 240. Ouch. And look, it did this drop after that, and this little pop, whew, that looks pretty bad. SMH, probably going to be retracing. This is why I'm very concerned about all these semiconductors and semiconductor ETFs. Is like they're all extended to the upside, and they all, like, nothing stays extended forever. They all come back eventually. CVNA looks like it wants to retrace back down. ENPH, that's still bearish. Couldn't do the breakout. Watch out for a move down to 56 area. This 50, let's go 50 to 65. Somewhere in that area, we can find a bottom if we're going to be going on down. ATKR, nothing's high probability on ENPH at the moment. All right, got to get above below here to tip the odds we're going down here. This could be where we're heading. If that's not in your cards for ENPH, you might want to get out. All right, it hasn't confirmed a bullish breakout, hasn't confirmed a bearish move. We're just sitting right in the middle. It's kind of a coin flip, though, and that's a bigger downside risk than we have upside potential. ATKR is quite extended for the last move, right up to the 1618. Natural progression of things would be a return back into this 150, 160 area, right around here. IBIT is another Bitcoin spot ETF. This one is iShares, if you didn't know, is BlackRock. All right. If you see iShares, you just think BlackRock in your head. So this is BlackRock's Bitcoin spot ETF. They are quickly becoming the largest one. 17 billion, almost 18 billion assets under management. And if they do the 1% allocation thing, they're going to have like 120 billion. Be crazy, but BitB, another spot ETF. Same, like all these are going to move with Bitcoin. All right, they're basically an analog for Bitcoin, just change the prices. Analog for Bitcoin. RYAAY, Rainier. Looks like it's done for now, but I mean, we could keep drifting higher, but that looks like it really wants to come back to that roadmap line. Tesla, Salah. I've had this 158 area target here for a good long while. We're holding a higher low so far. This could be, I mean, it's entirely possible that we don't push on down to that 158. It's going to be kind of a bummer, but kind of drew this on here a couple weeks ago. But I think we're going to push right on in there, test that final support level. If we can do that, wrap this baby up, get something bullish, get back up here, fill this gap, get above the roadmap line, go bullish. But right now, still tilted bearish. We could still go down. And we may go down through earnings, and then that be the big turn point. So that event is coming up April 17th. Only about 15 more days, about 2 weeks. 2 weeks away. Place your bets now. Or wait till we're a little closer. QCOM did that watermelon seed squeeze pop thing, and it's sitting right there. That thing I talked about earlier. See that consolidation and the pop, and it hit the target, and it hadn't done anything for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks since we did that, since we hit that. There's no high probability anything from here. Probably a retrace, but we could just break on out and go. I mean, like, this one's a prime example. We did this big consolidation, we did this pop out, and just parked right here up at the target. We outperformed just a little bit, and now consolidating, and we may retrace. This one was a big long one. And the two examples here are breakouts, but they break down just as often and go down. So be careful. Don't think, oh man, JT, he's just not seeing they're all bullish. The two examples I showed you are bullish, but they're not all bullish by any means. DPST is still consolidating under the roadmap line, and that is not bullish. We may see, this may be an indication that we're going to see regional banks performing softly as we get into Q2, Q1 earnings, whatever you want, Q2 earnings announcements, which is actually Q1 results, however you want to look at it. And FSLR, just churning at the roadmap line, no high probability anything at the moment. And Airbnb, last on the list today, probably wants to come back to the roadmap line. I gave up chasing this one a while back, and for a good reason, because this choppy junk right here did not entice me to stay long on this thing. In the price action, we're not getting the continuation. It's very overlapping. This looks like it wants to retrace again and overlap all these highs, and that just makes an unclear pattern. So that's where I am with Airbnb at the moment. SPX bias for the day. You know, if I said anything today that was helpful, beneficial, and informative, give me a thumbs up. Give me a like down there at the bottom. Right down there. Click the like button. The ching. If you hated what I said, something I said, just you didn't like it, you know, you can chink. And that's cool too, but, you know, guess you got to have haters if you're going to be successful. Anyway. So like I said, there's a correction going on, if you didn't know. And just clear up some of this stuff. Make it nice and clear. That low, that high. We're getting right down to the targets. Holding here. And below that 5160 area right down here. Grab the target zone. So right there. And we may ping pong around, which we're kind of already doing. We may ping pong up, find resistance, and turn down again. And on ES, where I started, we've already tagged that first level. Second level down right there. Could rally all the way back up here before we push down. So we could be ending this correction here. So watch out for something bullish setting up. If we start seeing some bullish candles, got to start on the 5 minute. This will be where it first shows up. Well, it'll first show up on the 1 minute. Maybe difficult to find because there's a lot of candles. 5 minutes usually what I watch, and then 15 is where I confirm, and then 30 is where I kind of double check. We got a long way to go to get bullish again. But grand scheme of things, this is a little baby pullback. This is 1%. 1%. So be careful out there. See ya. Remember, 5 o'clock. Set your alarm. Set your time. Set your calendar. Set your reminder. Click the bell with the notifications, the doodads. I'll see you later.